My name is Emilie Kasperbauer, and today I will be sharing my human milk project. Lactation is a vital stage for a mother, as breastfeeding a baby comes with many benefits. I will first discuss the anatomy of a breast and how lactation works. A woman's breast starts to get ready to make milk when she becomes pregnant. Breast changes are caused by four main hormones. These hormones cause the ducts and alveoli to grow and increase in size. The physiology of breastfeeding includes an important balance of hormones. There are four hormones that help your breast make milk: estrogen, progesterone, prolactin, and oxytocin. Your body naturally adjusts the level of these hormones to help your breast make milk. Estrogen and progesterone prepare your breast to make milk. These hormones are released by the placenta during pregnancy. They have two major roles. They increase the size and number of milk ducts in your breast. They also keep your body from making large amounts of breast milk until after your baby is born. Once your baby is born, the placenta is delivered, and estrogen and progesterone decrease. This decrease is what signals your body that it is time to make milk. Prolactin helps your breast make milk. After the birth of your baby, prolactin levels increase. Every time you breastfeed or pump, your body releases prolactin. With each release, your body makes and stores more milk in the alveoli. If the level of this hormone gets too low, your milk supply will decrease. This is why it is important to breastfeed or pump right after delivery and continue on a regular schedule. Oxytocin releases milk from your breast. When your baby begins to suck and draw your nipple into his or her mouth, this hormone is released. This release causes milk to be squeezed out of the alveoli, into the ducts, and out of your nipple, into your baby's mouth. This process is called the letdown reflex. Though often confused, lactation and breastfeeding do not mean the same thing. Lactation is the automatic, physiological process of the secretion of milk by the mammary glands, while breastfeeding is the learned action of feeding a baby with milk from the breast. In pregnancy, the breast may start to produce milk weeks or months before you are due to have your baby. Lactation occurs in a three-step process, starting late in the third trimester with lactogenesis 1. Lactogenesis is the term meaning the initiation of lactation. It is the process of functional development of mammary tissue as it undergoes changing from a non-lactating to a lactating state. Lactogenesis 1 occurs late in the third trimester and continues until birth. During this time, the mother's breast may begin to feel swollen. This is a sign that the alveoli have started to produce colostrum. Colostrum is often called the baby superfood, as it is the perfect food for a newborn baby. Colostrum contains antibodies to protect the newborn against disease. Newborns have very immature and small digestive systems, and colostrum delivers its nutrients in a very concentrated, low-volume form. Colostrum provides carbohydrates, protein, electrolytes, and magnesium. As breast milk changes from colostrum to mature milk, the concentration of immune factors and antibodies decrease, but the volume of breast milk greatly increases, as well as lactose and protein content. Lactogenesis 2 occurs 2 to 5 days postpartum. During this stage, the breast may feel warm and become swollen if they are not drained frequently. If the mother does not breastfeed, her breast will stop producing mature milk and start producing colostrum again, and then finally stop producing milk altogether. The breast will begin to produce colostrum after 3 days without milk removal. In lactogenesis 2, an increase in the production of lactose, glucose, and milk lipids will occur, as well as a decrease of the production of protein, sodium, chloride, nitrogen, and magnesium. As milk supply and fat content stabilizes, the infant will begin to feed about every 3 hours. Milk content is increased because of the increased blood supply to the mammary glands in the breast. Lactogenesis 3 occurs about 10 days postpartum. Though lactogenesis 1 and 2 were controlled by hormones or the endocrine system, lactogenesis 3 is controlled by the autocrine system, aka supply and demand. The breast will continue to make milk indefinitely as long as milk removal continues. At this point, the baby will feed at the consistency fed at this stage for about the first year of its life. If the mother was feeling discomfort in her breasts, she may begin to feel that uncomfortable full feeling less between feedings. Milk will look more watery and white compared to the thick yellowy milk that was more present in the first two stages. What is in human milk? One of the best benefits of breastfeeding has to do with all the nutrients that breast milk contains. As the baby's first food, you'd expect breast milk to be packed with nutrients, which it is, but it also contains specific factors that your baby can only get from breastfeeding. Let's see what's in breast milk. Water. Breast milk will satisfy the necessary fluid intake for the infant. Breast milk will keep the baby hydrated, though signs of dehydration should always be monitored. Macronutrients. Though the composition of milk changes as mothers go through the stages of lactogenesis, typical breast milk is made of about 6% protein, 39% carbohydrates, aka lactose, and 55% fat. Fat is the most prominent macronutrient, and it has an important role in supporting the baby's rapid growth. Carbohydrate is next, supporting the baby's brain, followed by a small amount of protein that aids in tissue development. Vitamins and minerals. Breast milk contains vitamins and minerals that support healthy growth and organ function, as well as help build your baby's teeth and bones. DHA. DHA is a polyunsaturated fatty acid that helps develop the baby's nervous system, as well as aid healthy brain and eye development. In addition to these basic ingredients, breast milk exclusively contains millions of immune-boosting cells, over 200 complex sugars that act as prebiotics, feeding good bacteria into your baby's gut. More than 40 enzymes. The ones in milk have jobs such as aiding your baby's digestion and immune system. A lot of hormones that can help regulate your baby's appetite and sleep patterns, as well as the bond between you and your baby. Antibodies that can protect your baby against illnesses and infections by neutralizing bacteria and viruses. These antibodies can develop in response to bacteria and viruses in your baby's saliva and then be expressed in the milk. Lactation needs to be supported by proper feeding positions. It is essential that the baby is comfortable during feeding times, or else he or she may not be able to properly suck out the milk. The four most common positions are shown in the diagram: the cradle hold, the cross cradle hold, the football hold, and lying down. It is a good idea to change breastfeeding positions from time to time to allow your breast to completely empty. No matter the position, it is important to support your body so you are not uncomfortable, support your breasts, support your baby, making sure the baby is comfortable and secure, and support yourself by making sure you are relaxed before, during, and after breastfeeding. This makes the experience much more enjoyable and easier for both you and the baby. There are certain positions that need to be avoided when breastfeeding, including hunching over your baby, having your baby's body and head facing different directions, and holding your baby's body far away from the breast. While breastfeeding, it is important to make sure you are not forcing latching and you do not put the breast in the baby's mouth until the baby's mouth is completely open. Lastly, drinking water between breastfeeding sessions is essential. Lactation also needs to be supported by healthy lifestyle habits. Women who are breastfeeding have slightly higher nutritional needs than women who are not. Women only need to be consuming about 500 more calories per day in the first 6 months of breastfeeding and 400 calories per day after. Plentiful macronutrient intake is supported by a diet consisting of whole grains, fruits, and veggies. Mothers should also eat a variety of different flavors to expose the baby, but should avoid any offensive flavors like spicy foods or garlic. Offensive flavors could be expressed in the breast milk and cause the baby to have an unpleasant experience. Breastfeeding mothers should also be sure to drink about an extra 32 ounces of water a day. Mothers should limit their caffeine intake as babies can be sensitive. Breastfeeding mothers should not put themselves on diet restrictions when trying to lose weight, especially diets that restrict calorie intake. A mother should never be on a diet where she eats less than 1,800 calories a day while breastfeeding. A breastfeeding mother should also not drink alcohol excessively and be sure to wait 3 to 4 hours after alcohol consumption to breastfeed their baby. A mother can use a method called pump and dump to rid the alcohol and tainted milk from her body before feeding. Breastfeeding mothers should also not smoke or use any kind of drugs that have not been pre-approved by a doctor while breastfeeding, as it can be expressed in the milk. Nicotine, for example, can cause restlessness, fussiness, and nausea in babies and can also inhibit the mother's milk supply. An issue supporting lactation is having a low milk supply. Though this issue only affects a small percentage of breastfeeding mothers, I learned over a phone interview that my aunt, who will be called P for her privacy, experienced this. P did not know she had a low milk supply and found out when she took her baby Joey for a checkup. Joey was fussy, so P began to feed him and the doctor watched her feeding technique and found that Joey was not latching properly. Joey was not able to get the breast milk out easily, which most likely also contributed to him being low on the length for age and weight for age percentile. P did not want to give up on breastfeeding, but it was important that her baby was getting the nutrients he needed to develop healthily. Her doctor instructed her to change the position she was breastfeeding in. She went with more of a cradle hold position, whereas she had described her method before to be more like a football hold. Proper technique enables proper latching. In addition, the doctor recommended her to start pumping her breast to let out an ample amount of milk. The removal of breast milk from the breast is what tells your body to make more milk, and her breasts at the time were not used to having a lot of milk removed, and therefore she was making a low amount of milk. Having a low supply of breast milk can be caused by other reasons besides improper latching, as described by lactation expert Meredith Schur. Dr. Schur describes how a low milk supply can also be due to not breastfeeding often enough or not breastfeeding for a long enough period of time at each feeding. Each time you breastfeed, your baby should feed for approximately 15 minutes on a side before alternating breast. Just like P's issue, if your baby isn't feeding for a long enough time, you may develop a low milk supply because your body does not know it needs to make more milk. It is common that mothers worry about having a low milk supply when their baby is actually just going through a growth spurt. When babies go through a growth spurt, they have an increased appetite and it may seem like they are constantly hungry. Your baby will most likely want to nurse very often, and if you continue to do this, your body will realize that it needs to make more milk. Within a few days, your supply will go up and your baby will settle back down into a more normal feeding routine. Aside from a regular feeding schedule, increasing your breast milk supply can be done in a variety of ways. It is recommended to use a breast pump after or between feeds to stimulate the breast to make more milk. There are also certain medications and herbs that can be taken to boost your milk supply. Eating a healthy, well-balanced diet full of milk-producing foods such as whole grains and dark green vegetables can also help. Avoid taking medications to help with allergies or colds because that can also dry up your breast milk.